Hey guys, Chastity and Greg here, and Star Trek Picard is finally here. Jean-Luc Picard is back, and we're going to break down every single episode of his new show.
Spoiler warning, if you haven't seen the episode yet, get out of here, go watch it, and then come on back. Okay, we're going to jump right into it. It's a pilot episode, and there's so much to go over, so let's just get right into the recap.
All right, so the first episode is called Remembrance, and we start off with a dream sequence aboard the USS Enterprise with Data and Picard, and they're playing poker, as they always love to play poker in TNG.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and drinking some tea, of course, Picard's favorite.
And he asks for milk.
Yes.
I wanted Data to just say right there, I hate it.
Oh, yes! I hate this! It is revolting!
More?
Please.
It seems that Picard really misses Data and says,
I don't want the game to end.
as you may recall, Data sacrificed himself in Star Trek Nemesis to save Picard and the Enterprise.
Towards the end of the dream, Picard looks out the window, he sees Mars, looks back, and Data's gone. Explosions are seen on the surface, and this is referenced in the Children of Mars short trek we saw 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's where a group of powerful ships reported to be piloted by rogue synthetics attacked Mars about 14 years before the events of this episode of Picard. So then Picard awakens in his bedroom. He's actually at Chateau Picard in France, and he's got his dog number 1, played by De Niro the dog. Super cute. You might recognize this vineyard, which we first saw in the TNG episode Family. He's living a quiet life there 14 years after his retirement from Starfleet.
We then move over to Greater Boston, where we meet Dahj for the first time. She's with her, I guess, partner, boyfriend at the time, and they're celebrating her getting into the Daystrom Institute.
She's going to be a research fellow in AI and quantum consciousness. Then strangers appear and her boyfriend is killed and she's attacked. They ask,
"Where are the rest of you? Where are you from?"
So they stick the bag over her head, and immediately she's activated like a Jason Bourne kind of thing.
Yep.
And she kicks everyone's ass.
doesn't even need to see.
Nope, not at all. And after being activated, Dahj sees a vision of Picard and sets out to find him.
Then we meet Zhaban and Laris in the vineyard. They're 2 Romulans that live with Picard and help him with the vineyard.
In the Picard Countdown comic book, we find out that the 2 are former members of the Romulan covert intelligence agency Tal Shiar, who fell in love and were rescued and sheltered by Picard. Now, the Tal Shiar are like the Romulans' very own Section 31, but much darker.
Then Picard is being interviewed by FNN on the anniversary of the Romulan supernova. Picard mentions that he's passionate about raising awareness about the supernova's lingering impact. Picard had called for relocations of Romulans who asked for help.
The reporter asked Picard about the attack on Mars by the rogue synths, which wiped out the rescue armada, and Mars is still on fire today. 93,000 lives were lost, leading to the ban on synthetics.
So Picard notes that they don't know why those synthetics went rogue, but that banning all synthetics was a mistake.
Yeah, and the breadcrumbs start to come together towards the end of the episode too. We start to figure out what's actually going on here.
Then Picard is asked why he quit Starfleet.
Because it was no longer Starfleet.
I'm sorry?
Because it was no longer Starfleet.
It seems he left Starfleet after their decision to become isolationist, and the ban on all synthetics.
Now back to Dahj. Dahj appears in France and she finds Picard and she asks if he knows her and he's not sure. But something led her to him and she feels safe with him.
Do you believe me?
I believe that you believe that you're supposed to be here.
Then Picard has another dream of Data. This time Data is painting a robed figure at sea, and he asks Picard,
Would you like to finish it, Captain?
When Picard wakes up, he immediately figures out that he has that painting in his study and he takes a look at it.
behind his head.
Yeah, there
He
it
wakes
is.
up.
Dahj leaves and then he heads over to the Starfleet archives.
At the archives, Picard finds another version of Data's painting that reveals a person who clearly looks like Dahj, and Data painted it in 2369. Side note, 2369 is the year that Data started experiencing dreams.
You've crossed over the threshold from being a collection of circuits and sub-processors and have started a wonderful journey.
And then surprise, the painting is called Daughter.
Boom. If this is Data's daughter, this isn't the first time that Data has done this. And back in TNG, in the episode Offspring, remember he had his daughter, Lal.
Congratulations, Data. It's a girl.
And side note, Data kept a scientific log of all of his work on Lal, so maybe this is where they found his research and they're going from there, but who knows.
Then Dahj calls her mom, who somehow knows Dahj found Picard. She urges Dahj to focus and find Picard. She tells her to think clearly in order to find Picard. This activates something inside her and she's able to track him down in San Francisco.
Picard tells Dahj that she's very special and tells her about Data and his self-sacrifice, and that he painted her 30 years ago.
If you are who I think you are, you are dear to me in ways that you can't understand.
Then Picard plans to take Dahj to Daystrom, but before they can, they are attacked.
Yep, they're attacked, a battle ensues, and sadly, Dahj is gone.
Picard's knocked out, but he wakes up to find out that Starfleet found no evidence of an attack in San Francisco. Dahj might have had cloaking tech activated during the attack.
Picard immediately sets off to the Daystrom Institute in Okinawa to talk to Dr. Agnes Girardi.
You can tell me if it is possible to make a sentient android out of flesh and blood.
Girardi tells Picard that the androids that destroyed Mars came from their research facility.
Because of this, no one can make synthetics. They can only study and run simulations.
And also, we find out that B4 is at the Annex.
We learn that Bruce Maddox was working at the Institute prior to the ban on synthetics. He was devastated after the ban and disappeared. As you might remember, Maddox was last seen in the TNG episode The Measure of a Man. His goal was to disassemble and reverse engineer data in order to gain the final piece of knowledge he needed to crack Soong's code. He was ultimately denied this procedure, but Data still encouraged Maddox to continue his research.
Now, sooner or later, this man, or others like him, will succeed in replicating Commander Data. Now, the decision you reach here today will determine how we will regard this creation of our genius.
Girardi mentions they were trying to redevelop the science used to create Data, and they came very close before they were shut down. Girardi also mentions that a sentient being is possible, but they need Data's neural network to do it. Okay.
Girardi informs Picard that Dahj's necklace is a symbol for fractal neuronic cloning. Dahj is a clone, and she's not the only one. Again, fractal neuronic cloning was Maddox's work.
Maddox's theory was Data's entire code could be reconstituted from a single positronic neuron. This means that some part of Data could still be out there.
Picard suggests that Maddox may have modeled Dahj after Data's paintings, but now he needs to find her twin.
And finally, at the end, we meet Narek and Soji, Dahj's twin. We even get a little moment with the necklaces again to confirm this. So I can't wait to see where we're going there. And also Narek, we only learned just a little bit from him, that his brother passed away a year ago, and he's still feeling the repercussions from that.
And we find out what ship they're on. They're researchers aboard a Romulan Borg ship.
You saw it in all the trailers, teasers, so we're gonna have to wait for episode 2 to figure out what's going on there.
Blue skies smiling at me.
The episode opens with the song Blue Skies, which is also the song that Data sang at Will Riker and Deanna Troy's wedding in Star Trek Nemesis.
Blue skies smiling at me.
Irving Berlin.
Picard and Data playing poker in his dream calls back to TNG, as the crew of the Enterprise often played poker together throughout the series. It was a game that Data enjoyed but struggled to fully understand as he worked at being more human.
We see a Borg cube in the opening credits sequence, and it shows up again at the end. The Borg play a part in the story that isn't completely clear by the end of this episode. Picard and the Enterprise have a long history with the Borg, with Picard even once being assimilated as Locutus of Borg during the TNG two-part story, The Best of Both Worlds.
Picard has a pit bull named Number 1, which is a reference to Picard's nickname for Commander Riker, who served as the Enterprise's first officer for years. Picard's pit bull is also a bit of a reference to actor Sir Patrick Stewart's real-life work with animal rescue organizations and fostering pit bulls.
As we mentioned, we've seen Chateau Picard before on TNG. The Picard family owned a chateau and vineyard in France, which was run for years by Jean-Luc's brother Robert. We also see Jean-Luc living in the chateau and tending the vineyard in the series finale of Star Trek The Next Generation, which looked into Picard's potential future, although that whole storyline was a result of some Q interference. You won't see Robert or his family in Star Trek Picard, though. In Star Trek Generations, we learn that Robert and his son Rene perished in a fire. We see Picard with his favorite drink, Earl Grey tea.
Tea, Earl Grey, decaf.
Only now he's drinking decaf. You might also notice that the cup Picard drinks his tea from during the dream sequence with Data is the same type he used on the Enterprise during TNG.
During his interview with FNN, Picard discusses the Romulan supernova. We never saw the destruction of Romulus during The Next Generation or its subsequent movies, but the event was mentioned in J.J. Abrams' 2009 Star Trek. That movie mentions the destruction of Romulus, which Ambassador Spock tried and failed to prevent. The events resulting from the Romulan supernova winds up creating an alternate timeline, which is where Abrams' films are set, but the fate of Romulus is still a part of Star Trek's prime timeline.
After the Federation learned about the Romulan supernova, Picard pushed Starfleet to launch a massive armada to rescue the Romulan people. Picard likened the attempt to Dunkirk, in which British civilian ships rallied together to save stranded British soldiers during World War II.
There's no legacy as rich as honesty. Who said that, Number 1?
Ah, another Shakespeare quote. This one's from All's Well That Ends Well.
My love, is a fever, longing still for that which longer nurseth the disease.
Let's move on to Data's paintings. Throughout TNG, one of the ways Data tried to become more human was through creative expression. He played musical instruments and also tried his hand at painting. Though the two paintings shown in the episode of Picard didn't appear on TNG, there were numerous moments in the series in which Data was shown painting.
Picard's vault in the Starfleet archives includes a number of keepsakes from his career, many of which appeared in various Star Trek The Next Generation episodes and movies. And you can spot a model of the captain's yacht, a small ship attached to the Enterprise E, which Picard and Data used in their mission during Star Trek Insurrection.
Another model in Picard's Starfleet Archives vault is the Stargazer, the ship Picard commanded before the Enterprise. The Stargazer was mentioned repeatedly throughout TNG, and Picard and the Enterprise even briefly visited the derelict ship in the episode The Battle.
Hello, old friend.
Also on display in the archive vault is a Klingon bat'leth, a traditional weapon of the Klingons. Picard has a long history with the Klingons, previously serving as the arbiter of succession for the Klingon Chancellor.
We also see the banner for Captain Picard Day on display in Picard's Quantum Archives. Aboard the Enterprise, school children celebrated Captain Picard Day each year, creating art projects of the likeness of the captain. Picard personally judged the contest to pick the best of the projects, as seen in the TNG episode The Pegasus. We see a disassembled B4 at the Daystrom Institute. The android was discovered in Star Trek Nemesis, making him the third of the androids we've seen that were built by Data's creator, Noonien Soong. B4 was the oldest and less sophisticated version built by Soong. He was then followed by Lore, who was much more human but unstable. And then finally, Data. In Nemesis, Data tried to download his memories into B4, but B4's positronic brain couldn't handle the information. As we can see, B4 is still around, but he's been decommissioned, especially in the wake of the synth revolt on Mars.
Alright, so overall, what did you think of the pilot?
It's a pilot. Smells like a pilot. Feels like a pilot. It's a pilot. But with that said, I know you gotta go through the expository hurdles of a pilot for characters, iconic characters that we haven't seen in 18 years. So I get that, and I'm absolutely in love with the story.
Really?
I like where they're going with the story
Nice.
so far, if this story sticks.
Okay.
Data trying to give Picard one final mission, one final mystery.
And to many humans, a mystery is irresistible. It must be solved.
They're looking for new life. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm completely on board. I just really love watching Patrick Stewart slip back into this role. It's like seeing an old friend.
I'll watch anything with Picard. He can just be playing pool or poker or just drinking wine, and I'll watch an hour of that. I don't care.
I still stand by it. I want a whole episode of Picard and Riker just shooting the shit, hanging out.
You can get that, but David Lynch will have to direct that episode, I think.
I'm in.
Okay.
All right, that's it for us this week, but be sure to come back next week because we'll be breaking down every single episode of Picard.
Let us know what you thought of the season premiere in the comments down below. Bye-bye.